What's going on, guys? Pilot here, and today we're going to talk about Borderlands 2 on Nintendo Switch. I just want to start off by thanking 2K for sending me a copy of the Legendary Collection, so thank you to 2K. Now, I've spent the day playing Borderlands 2 on Nintendo Switch, both in and out of the Switch dock. And while a lot of people are going to be concerned with the technical aspects of it, I'm going to leave that to the other reviewers, and I'll give what I guess I'll call an everyman review for those who just want to know if it works, if it's fun, what the deal is, and what I think of it. So let's go. Now, to start, I'll say that I am a veteran player of the gaming franchise, and I play and create all my Borderlands content on my Xbox One X. It's no secret that the Switch is a powerful console, but not as powerful as its current gen rivals or a high-spec PC. So I'm not going to focus too much on these comparisons here, but I'll touch on it a little bit. Upon booting the game and starting my first Switch side playthrough, I could tell it wasn't as flashy looking as I'm used to on the Xbox One X, but that's entirely expected. I would say visually the game is closer to the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions than the current gen consoles, at least graphically, but it does have an extra little bit of sheen on it as well. This is by no means a bad thing. The game's unique art style has a pretty timeless feel to it anyway, so the game does age well, and it wasn't something I really noticed or got hung up on during my playtime. One thing early on I did find to be a bit of a letdown was I couldn't adjust my field of view, or FOV as it's often called. If you're new to the franchise or a fairly casual gamer, this will likely not have much of an impact on your enjoyment, but if you are a veteran player or used to having complete control over your game's presentation, this will sting a little bit. I found myself getting caught out by enemies quite often due to the low FOV, and sometimes felt like I was running in mud due to being adapted to higher FOV on Xbox One. It was a lingering issue for me that I kept going back to, but I reckon after some more time I'll adapt and probably notice it way less. I'll also note that in this collection the pre-sequel does have an FOV slider, but Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 don't. I don't know if this was an oversight or if it's something that they can and maybe will patch in, but I really hope they do. Performance wise, I didn't notice much of a difference from what I'm used to apart from the FOV. The game ran smoothly. I didn't encounter any noticeable stuttering even in high combat situations, and the game ran at a comfortable pace both in docked mode and handheld mode, which is great news for playing this game on the go. I can now continue my endless grind for a 94 sham on the toilet if I wish. People will maybe say this was already possible with the PS Vita version of the game, but that is a notoriously terrible port, so I've done my best to ignore its existence entirely for this review, but this right here is a fantastic port of a game that can be played on the go. Now, in the interest of being totally honest, I did come across a situation where I had my sniper scope pinned clear on an enemy's head, but upon firing, the bullet didn't do any damage or even register the hit. This happened a couple of times during the beginning area of the game, but it hasn't happened since. It could be me and the Switch Pro controller, which I'm not used to at all, but I thought I would note it as it's never happened to me in any other version of the game I've played. And as it only happened a couple of times in one area, I'm not putting too much thought into it being anything more than an isolated incident that could entirely be human error, I guess. On the audio side of things, I noticed two things. One is that echo logs sound a bit more processed and digital than I remember. If that was intentional, then it's pretty cool. It adds a little bit of depth to them and simulates that they are coming from a device, you know? The second thing I noticed was a little bit of annoyance. The game gave me some really weird audio spikes. Some voices during missions would be a lot louder than the rest of the audio, and this was quite off-putting and hopefully something that they can and will fix. But other than that, nothing really to report on that. So what else? Well, let's talk about what's included in the game. You get the base game, you get every major DLC campaign excluding 2019's Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC. At this time, I'm unsure if this is going to be sold separately at a later date or if it's being excluded entirely. We simply don't know right now. But you also get both level upgrade packs and the Digistruct Peak Challenge for those OP levels. You get every Headhunter pack as well, and the additional 2 character packs. It is not the same package as the existing Handsome Collection, even though it is labelled as the Handsome Collection. If you look at it on the eStore, it does miss the cosmetic packs. They are not included in it, but they're not really essential to the game's story or progress, and I assume they will probably appear on the Nintendo eShop in the future. They are just little cosmetic packs that cost, I think, $1 or $2, so they're not too big a deal here. I'm also happy to report that some of the existing shift codes for cosmetics and golden keys will work with the Switch version. I'm assuming it's only the keys that are labelled for all platforms that will work, and not the platform-specific ones, for the obvious reasons of them being platform-specific. I tested this with the fabled Community Day 2013 head and skin codes that were released on the build-up to Borderlands 3's launch, and they were all platform codes. They were not platform-specific, so they worked fine. I'll link my guide video to access those codes and cosmetics at the end of this video. I really recommend you pick them up. They are fantastic skins and heads, and they're awesome. I love them. And finally, as a nice bonus, if you are a veteran player and log into your Shift account from the game's menu, you'll be rewarded with a load of golden keys, which is not too bad at all. So that's my review, guys. If you sat through it and you're still confused as to whether or not you should pick this up, let me give you a short ending opinion. If you're new to the franchise and want to see what all the fuss is about, the Switch ports are as good a place to start as any. There are no massive flaws in the port, and the game runs smooth, so there's not much more you need. It works, it's great, it's fun, and you can take it wherever you want with you. And also, if you pick up the Legendary Collection, you will have a lot of content to work your way through across all 3 games, and I don't doubt that you will fall in love with the franchise as I did, and many others, right from the comfort of wherever the heck you please, because it's on the Switch. You can take it anywhere. That's a huge bonus. If you're a veteran player of the franchise and are used to playing the game at its highest spec on your PC or on Xbox One X or PS4 Pro, you will notice a difference, but unless you're an absolute stickler for frames, resolution, FOV, etc., you shouldn't be put off having more Borderlands in your life. I'm excited to be able to play it wherever I go, as it's always a game that I can go to relieve boredom. So yeah, man, it's a thumbs up from me, guys. And there you have it. I tried to be as clear and fair as possible here without diving too deep into numbers and specifics. You know, it's a great port of an amazing game and franchise, and personally I'm going to spend a lot of time enjoying this anywhere I choose to go. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments below. But until next time, goodbye!